Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spinner Rack, and I'm here with the boys, Cal and PD. What's up? Say what's up to the people out there, guys.
What up?
Hey, so today we're going to be talking about what is S.W.O.R.D in the Marvel Universe. Is it just a sword that we fight with, or the organization is what we're talking about? What is it? You know, is it a S.H.I.E.L.D. clone? Is it S.H.I.E.L.D.? Why? Why has this been popping up lately in the latest Wandavision and stuff like that? So I'm going to pass it off to our guy Cal. He can give us a definition of what S.H.I.E.L.D. is, what's going on with it, and then we're going to have PD.
What S.H.I.E.L.D. is? What is S.H.I.E.L.D.?
What is?
No, you said it right the first time. What is S.H.I.E.L.D.? Let's even scratch.
And what's the difference?
S.W.O.R.D. Oh, sorry. Nobody's had to talk about S.W.O.R.D. Everyone's talking S.W.O.R.D.
What's the difference between S.W.O.R.D and S.H.I.E.L.D.? Cal,
you're kidding. Oh, I don't believe this. Anyway, S.W.O.R.D. officially stands for, unless they've changed it recently, like they did with S.H.I.E.L.D., should be Sentient World Observation and Response Department. What S.W.O.R.D is supposed to do is S.H.I.E.L.D. This is so stupid. Anyway, S.H.I.E.L.D. is supposed to take care of all the terrestrial threats. And S.W.O.R.D, this has to be something Bendis created. S.W.O.R.D is supposed to take care of all of the extra terrestrial threats that I suppose S.H.I.E.L.D. can't take care of, because we already have S.H.I.E.L.D. We don't really need S.W.O.R.D. That's it.
And I would like to say, when S.H.I.E.L.D. couldn't handle something, you know what they did?
They called the
Fantastic Four.
According to the Wikipedia, so we can get this, S.W.O.R.D, like you said, is Sentient World Observation and Response Department, is the extraterrestrial, I guess, counterterrorism intelligence arm. Not arm. They deal with, like Cal said, extraterrestrial stuff, whereas S.H.I.E.L.D. deals with stuff within the world. You know, are they one thing? Are they two things? Are they affiliated organization? The way we have it right now, when we see the last movie, and we assume this is Director Fury, that he's in the space station and he may be running S.W.O.R.D. That's the thought. We're not 100% sure in the last movie with Monica Rambeau, with Captain Marvel. Here, oh, by the way, this was developed by Joss Whedon and John Cassidy. So can you stop blaming Bendis on this, bro? Give Bendis a pass, all right?
No passes for Bendis.
No passes for Bendis. And if Joss Whedon did this, what can I say? Josh, maybe you do need a timeout.
Well, now wait a second. If you're saying what you're saying, right? Who is the outer space character that's interacting with in WandaVision? If
don't know who it hasn't explained who the head of it is right now, but you know, according to Wiki, that's what I could say, because I mean, I've really read many comments about that. They're saying S.W.O.R.D was an offshoot of S.H.I.E.L.D., but with the departure of Nick Fury as director of S.H.I.E.L.D., those two organizations have become strained or separated.
But you already said that Nick Fury's in space, so this is different.
But in the comics, in the movies, we see it looks like Nick Fury along with the Skrulls are part of that whole space station stuff. So he may be running that. We're not 100% sure in the MCU, but in the comic books it's separate. In the comic books, I think it's run by someone named Abigail Brand, an agent there. Okay.
Again,
Abigail Brand. First appearance of Astonishing X-Men number 7?
Oh God.
We can't help you here, unfortunately.
So that really solidifies it was all something, a flight of fancy by Joss Whedon in his Astonishing X-Men series that many of the normies love when they were looking to find an X-Men that they could read. That hey, I like the X-Men movie. What can I read? And say, here, Astonishing X-Men. Read that. Oh wow, it's cool. So
can you stop calling them normies? Just call them people.
I like calling them straights, but everyone knows them as normies now. Straights, that's a book that straights like. Well, I mean, it causes the fact that we saw Nick Fury. Let's not gloss over. We saw Nick Fury in space. Why would he just decide, oh, our separate thing from S.H.I.E.L.D. because it's on the ground, our space station is all S.W.O.R.D. It's like it complicates it. just to have another Easter egg saying, "Oh, S.W.O.R.D. Ooh, look, S.W.O.R.D."
I don't know. The whole thing to me sounds a little weird. Do they have their own? It's just a satellite or a ship. Does it have fighters? Are they going to be engaging other alien races? Do they attack them? Do they try to conquer them? Do they supposedly defend? What do they do, Cal? Or they just take intelligence and pass it on, like PD said, to the Fantastic Four? Hey, we're being attacked. Fantastic Four, can you please handle that? Oh no, X-Men handle it today. What do they do?
This was like self-indulgent vanity creation for Josh Whedon. You had S.H.I.E.L.D. There were plenty of extraterrestrial threats before S.W.O.R.D. was ever created, and either S.H.I.E.L.D. handled it, or the Avengers handled it, or the Fantastic Four handled it, or if it was like a really off day, maybe the Defenders handled it. But you didn't need a whole other organization in order to do this. What did they do? No, this was just like, hey, S.H.I.E.L.D., I know what would be really cool. S.W.O.R.D. Get it? S.W.O.R.D. and S.H.I.E.L.D. That's all it is. It's redundant. You already have S.H.I.E.L.D. Everything that S.W.O.R.D. does, S.H.I.E.L.D. already was doing decades before.
I thought it was also more part of the whole X-Men, I guess, universal titles, I guess, that are associated with it. Now, in the relaunched version of S.W.O.R.D., supposedly, you have Abigail Brand, but you also have Cable and Frenzy, Magneto, and I think someone named WizKid or something like that.
That's a rabbit hole that I can't legitimately, tell anybody, hey, why don't you go down here and see what you find? It was be honest, it was a needless creation, and they decided to keep it around. I have no idea why, but that's pretty much it at the end of the day. Everything that you saw when S.W.O.R.D. was introduced, it was really like, oh, we got Killer Wing over here. This is what we're doing. You're like, okay, whatever. Nobody really paid that much attention to it. Then you give some characters to it. They start popping up outside of that storyline by Josh Whedon, and it becomes, as much as I suppose it can, it has the bona fides of a legitimate entity within the Marvel Universe, but they're redundant.
So is S.W.O.R.D. part of the government or the UN or the US government or something like that?
We're going too deep into this.
Just want to clarify.
It doesn't matter if it's the UN. It doesn't matter if it's the United States government. It doesn't matter if these are Xavier's stepchildren. They're redundant.
Well, with that said, we have to talk about, this means that there would be some extraterrestrial, some alien force in WandaVision. If you need S.W.O.R.D., right?
The Skrulls, you mean?
I mean, the Skrulls are good guys now, right? So it's hard to say. It had to be some. I mean, I wouldn't consider Immortus like an alien. He's kind of from the future. That's still, with the stuff the Avengers have already seen, I think they would still, what's that thing? What's that show? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they've dealt with time travel, so Mortis would kind of fall under them too. So wouldn't we need an alien sort of attack in this sort of story? Some sort of alien, that the Avenger villain? That
we don't really have to have an alien attack for S.W.O.R.D. to be there. I suppose we could think of something else, or it could be, I don't know. I really don't. I just find the whole thing to be superfluous. Well, I've got nothing good to say about it.
Mars?
Hey, I agree with him. I think what's the point in having S.W.O.R.D. if you have S.H.I.E.L.D.? I mean, it just confuses the whole thing. Especially when you have someone who joined Marvel for a bit, Josh Whedon, he's no longer there. So, you always have these issues where you have these leftover things where people are like, hey, what do we do with it? And so, of course, X-Men had this whole S.W.O.R.D. Initiative before crossover. And now they have this comic S.W.O.R.D. And what are you going to do with it? How do you explain it? Is it part of S.W.O.R.D. and S.H.I.E.L.D., which is closely affiliated with Avengers, who work a lot with them, and S.W.O.R.D. now seems to be more with X-Men? What's going to happen? So it's, I don't know.
I'm saying, is this going to matter, or is this using the copyright in the film? Right?
Using the copyright in the
film. That's the only thing I can see, because it's like, I can't see, none of the story is connected to, the comic book story connected to something that's from outer space. So All right.
I've always given Marvel a lot of credit for manipulating their product, for finding a way, okay, we're going to get this guy in here, we're going to squeeze this, we're going to do that. And that's what they're doing here. They're like, look, what else stuff can we get up? What other stuff can we get in there? What's, laying around? Oh, we got this stuff over here. Let's use this. We got this here. Let's use this. So this is more of the same. And while, I may not necessarily have a lot of favorable stuff to say about it, I'm like, look, it's really is what they need to be. It really is par for the course with them. And it's just what you're supposed to be doing as a larger entity with all of these characters and entities in terms of properties laying around. I don't know. I mean, there's other stuff that you can tap that I think might be stronger, better ideas to manipulate, but that's what they're doing. And hey, I can't fault them. I can't fault them for doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Well, within the last bit, because obviously Mars is doing something. He looks like he's doing his taxes right now. The other thing I would point out is there's one series that did this before where they utilized all the IP that they could under one umbrella. And does anyone can remember who did it before the Marvel Universe did?
DC?
It's in the 90s.
It's the crossover.
The X-Men cartoon.
Yes.
They utilized everything mutant they could, even slipped in the Black Panther for 2 seconds.
Yeah, he did that weird cameo.
Yeah. I was like, wow, they keep throwing everybody in here. We got the suit they doing. I mean, of course you're gonna do all the major hits, but then they started to get all the characters. Even the Alpha Flight had a terrible appearance in there. So it's like, wow, they used every IP they could in that X-Men thing. And Marvel seems to carry on that tradition,
I don't fault them for that because a lot of I've always criticized DC for not doing that. Where DC, you look at, say, the Superman films, and over the course of 7 or 8 films, we have seen 2 Superman villains. We have seen General Zod, and we have seen Lex Luthor. That's pretty much it. Whereas with Marvel, no, I can't bear that criticism. They really do throw everybody in there. But then they'll take a character like Malekith from the Walt Simonson's run, and the way he's used, you're like, really? That was a great villain. And he pretty much just seemed to be washed. He should pretty much just be washed up. But then they'll nail it with somebody like Loki. But the only way you actually get that is to keep, throwing stuff up, throwing, guys in there and working them in. I just don't like this one.
Then what about the Batman stuff where they've had multiple villains and stuff like that? So I mean, I don't know if that.
Yeah, but he mentioned Superman. He was saying
he said DC and DC Superman possibly, but they've done it with Batman.
Batman, yeah, I would agree. I would just say like there's a character in the Well, they didn't use him in I don't remember them using him post crisis, but I always wanted someone to reimagine the Atomic Skull and put him against Superman. Someone do a really cool Atomic Skull.
Did you see what was that? They had Superman versus the Elite, and they had the
Elite.
Yeah, he made an appearance. He had the Atomic Skull in that animation. It was used.
Oh, in the animation. Okay, was it cool? Did it look cool?
I mean, he was just pretty much there to be a fight villain. So if you want that, then yeah, it was okay for what they used. And he's an obvious villain to use with somebody like Superman. But he's got the power to go toe to toe and then pose the residual threat around everything. But when you said Batman, that should have really stood out to you. Look at the Batman series. Look at how many villains were used in the Batman series. Okay. Why is it that you have a similar number of films with the Superman series, you get 2 villains? It shows you're not manipulating this thing correctly. You got one series over here where literally, I think in one film, they had 3-4 villains, at the end of the day. It was just too many villains at the end of the day. You go through with it. The other one, you get 2. I'm not talking about, hey, look how well we manipulated Batman. I'm saying DC, you don't manipulate your universe well. You've got a whole bunch of different characters over here. You had the Wonder Woman animation from back, I think, early 2000, maybe late 90s. Did really well. The numbers were good. They never made another one. It was about 20 years before they made another animated Wonder Woman film. So that's what I'm talking about. These guys look, oh yeah, sure, Batman. That doesn't show you. That shows you know how to undo this character. Marvel manipulates its properties as opposed to its one or two characters.
Got it. Good point. Good point. All right, so I guess we've covered this issue enough. S.W.O.R.D, complicated. We don't necessarily agree with it, but it's basically the.
Why is you supposed to be connecting it to Wandavision? You hadn't said nothing about that.
There's nothing to say.
So please connect it, Cal. I mean,
no, I said as much as I could, and he said,
"I'm going to connect it with my foot to this idea. It's a stupid idea."
You just said that it was nothing, so you just asked him to connect it. I said as much as I could. I was like, but there we are. We're ending it. We're ending it. Spinnerack out. That's what you want to do.
It's going to be a big part of WandaVision as we see continue. Versus S.W.O.R.D, we don't know what's going on. Spinnerack
out.